Archie was just that unique combination. Determined, funny, creative, genius. He wanted to break the rules, but he could break them because he knew what the rules were. And that's, I think, why he was so influential. And he did change the entire world of tapestry.
Archie Brennan started at Dovecot as a young apprentice in 1947. He went to France for 2 years. He then came back, studied at the Art College, and immediately came to Dovecot, became artistic director in 1963. In Archie's work, the thing that always comes through for me is the humour. It's very witty, it's very funny. There's so much to it, and I think every time I look at another tapestry, I think, oh God, he's being so clever. You know, he's being... This project was inspired by something Archie did quite late in his career. In 2011, he was invited by the Museum of Textiles in Washington, D.C. to respond to their collection. He selected 3 textiles entirely at random. And we thought this was a really interesting way of setting the weavers here at Dovecot that same challenge to work with the National Museum of Scotland collection. It's been brilliant to work with Lisa Mason on researching Archie's history, story and his works, finding works that we didn't know about.
The more Kate and I learned about Archie's life and work, the more we learned that teaching and arts education was absolutely fundamentally at the core of everything that he did. We really wanted the current generation of weavers at Dovecot to learn from Archie's approach to tapestry. We studied Archie's work within this collection, so the 7 pieces that we have, in quite a lot of detail. They wove small responses to those works to kind of learn about his approach in a really practical, hands-on way. The other strand to the project was to enable the weavers to work on a new commission in some way inspired by Archie's teaching and legacy. We took our cue from the 2012 Washington Textile Museum show, and we decided to pick textile objects completely randomly from the permanent collection, and that was the visual stimulus that the weavers had to go on for their new design. I think it's fair to say it was quite a challenge for them.
I wasn't really sure how to approach it. So I really just made a lot of drawings and looked at different motifs within the 3 textiles that I chose, and I made a lot of collages and played around with composition. One of the textiles that was selected for the museum was a fisherman's jumper with lots of different knitting techniques and textures within it. So I decided to use that as the background, and it just gave us an opportunity to play with texture whilst we were weaving.
The thing with Archie is that his methods are just as beautiful and elegant and varied as his effects are. That's his real power, I think. Seeing Archie's work laid out in the collections, it really sort of fired things and started my juices flowing and synapses going, all right, okay, well, what about this then? I like the crossover between tapestry and the digital. I think there's a lot of interesting comparisons to be made in there.
Ben's using the structure of the warp and weft as a grid. He's also weaving tapestries within tapestries, which I think's another interesting pun. Materials in Elaine's, there's beautiful bits where she's using warp as the weft to bring out texture and use different weaving techniques. Seeing that whole process through, I think has been really important. They've seen all the stages and how you can transform quite a raw design into this quite polished tapestry.
The same brief has inspired 2 totally different tapestries, and I think that's completely fascinating. The fact that you have Ben's tapestry really engages with the imagery that Archie Brennan was interested in, the digital modern version of the stuff that he was dealing with in the 70s and 80s of print and TV screens. Elaine's piece has looked at some of the technical design aspects of what he did, how he could combine textiles together, and then brought out some of his weaving techniques, his experiment with that wider warp, that making it very obviously a textile but of other textiles, and that's a really clever bit of design as well. So it's really had an incredible impact on both what they've both been doing.
Archie saw tapestry as the important art form. He encouraged weavers to design and weave their own work and be artists, not just weavers, which I think is really important.
Archie and what happened at the Dovecot changed the landscape of modern tapestry. Without Archie and his modification, simplification, and his insistence that the weavers were as much as a part of the process as the artist, without that we would not have the extraordinary worldwide lively tapestry field that we have.
Weaving a Legacy with Archie Brennan is created thanks to support from Creative Scotland and the Dovecot Foundation. He was inventive, and with that inventiveness he showed that you need to possess deep knowledge, you need to possess an understanding of the place of art in order to create something of lasting significance and value. We know that that will be his legacy to Dovecot Studios and for a more creative Scotland.
The weaver's voice is incredibly important. So us as curators and art historians looking at his work get one perspective, but then you get the weaver's perspective, and that's what putting this project together really allows us to do and really allows the weavers to do.